Taiwan, Kim stood at the window of his small apartment in Seoul, looking at the massive spaceship that hovered above the city. The morning sun made the ship's silver hull shine like a second moon in the sky. 5 years had passed since the aliens first came to Earth, but the sight still amazed him. His phone buzzed. The screen showed a message from Global Security Services, the company he worked for. Urgent meeting. 10 a.m. Head office. Taiwan straightened his black suit and checked his reflection in the mirror. At 35 years old, he kept himself as fit as he had been in his Special Forces days. His short black hair was neatly combed, and his face showed the calm focus that had made him one of the best bodyguards in South Korea. The head office was busy when he arrived. Humans and aliens walked through the halls, but Taiwan noticed something different today. The usual chatter was missing. Everyone seemed tense. Lieutenant Kim called Ms. Song, his boss's secretary. "Please go right in. They're waiting for you." Inside the office, 3 people sat around a large desk. Taiwan recognized Mr. Bien, his direct supervisor, but the other 2 were new faces. One was a well-dressed woman in her 40s, and the other was an older man in a military uniform. "Sit down, Taiwan," Mr. Bien said. "We have an unusual assignment for you." The woman spoke first. "I'm Director Yang from the Earth Diplomatic Corps. This is General Kang from Earth Defense." She placed a folder on the desk. "We need the best bodyguard on Earth, and your name came up in every conversation." Taiwan opened the folder. Inside was a photo of a woman about his age, with a kind face and determined eyes. The name under the photo read, Ambassador J.A. Park. Ambassador Park will represent Earth at the Galactic Council. Director Yang explained. She'll be the first human to hold such a high position. Many alien species don't like how quickly humans have advanced in galactic politics. She needs protection. General Kang leaned forward. "Here's the challenge, Lieutenant. You'll be the only human security professional on the space station. All other security teams are alien species with advanced technology and enhanced bodies. They think humans are too primitive to handle high-level security." Mr. Bien added, "This assignment isn't just about protecting the ambassador. It's about proving that humans can compete with the best in the galaxy." Taiwan studied the ambassador's photo again. "Why me? Why not someone with cybernetic enhancements?" Director Yang smiled. "Because you've done something none of our enhanced agents have managed. You've never lost a client. Not once in 10 years. You trust your instincts and skills more than technology. That's exactly what we need." The ambassador specifically requested someone who relies on human abilities, General Kang said. "She believes it will send a message to the Galactic Council. Show them that humanity's strength comes from who we are, not just our technology." Taiwan closed the folder. His mind went back to his Special Forces days, to missions where high-tech equipment failed and only human skill and determination got the team through. "When do I start?" "The ambassador leaves for Astral Dawn Station in 3 days," Director Yang said. "You'll need to study alien protocols, station layouts, and potential threats before then." "One more thing," General Kang added, his face serious. "The alien security teams will try to push you out. They'll mock you, challenge you, maybe even try to make you fail. Can you handle that?" Taiwan stood up straight, his face showing the quiet confidence that had kept him alive through countless dangerous situations. "With all due respect, sir, they can mock all they want. My job is to keep the ambassador safe. That's all that matters." The 3 officials exchanged pleased looks. Mr. Bien handed Taiwan a security badge with the Earth Diplomatic Corps symbol. "Welcome aboard, Lieutenant. Earth's reputation in the galaxy may depend on how well you do your job." As Taiwan left the office, he felt the weight of this new responsibility. But he also felt something else: pride. Humanity had fought hard for its place among the stars. Now he would show the galaxy that sometimes the old ways, the human ways, were still the best. The Astral Dawn space station looked like a giant silver wheel spinning slowly in space. Taiwan stood at the window of the diplomatic shuttle as it approached the docking bay. Next to him, Ambassador Jaya Park reviewed messages on her tablet. "First time in space, Lieutenant Kim?" the ambassador asked, noticing his intense focus on the station. "No, Ambassador, but it's my first time seeing the Astral Dawn. It's impressive." Taiwan kept his voice professional, but his eyes showed genuine wonder at the massive structure. The shuttle docked smoothly. Taiwan checked his simple black suit one last time. Unlike the alien security teams they were about to meet, he carried no visible weapons or tech. Just his training, his instincts, and a small emergency kit hidden in his jacket. As they walked through the airlock, a group waited for them. 4 tall, blue-skinned aliens stood in perfect formation. Their bodies gleamed with cybernetic enhancements, and their eyes glowed with artificial improvements. These were the Nexians, the station's elite security force. Their leader stepped forward. "Welcome to Astral Dawn, Ambassador Park. I am Chief Security Officer Vrax." His voice had a metallic echo. He barely glanced at Taiwan before continuing. "We have prepared a full security detail for you. There's no need for additional personnel." Ambassador Park smiled diplomatically. "Thank you, Officer Vrax. But Lieutenant Kim is my personal security chief. He will coordinate with your team." Vrax's glowing eyes narrowed. A human, with no enhancements. He walked around Taiwan, studying him like a curious artifact. "How do you expect to maintain proper security protocols without neural interfaces? Without strength amplifiers? Without even basic combat implants?" Taiwan met Vrax's gaze calmly. "The same way humans protected important people for thousands of years before we met aliens, with training, attention, and dedication." One of the other Nexians made a sound like mechanical laughter. "Did you hear that, Chief? He thinks prehistoric methods will work here. Should we show him our combat simulation room?" "An excellent suggestion," Vrax said. "Ambassador, with your permission, we should test your security chief's capabilities. Standard protocol, of course." The ambassador looked at Taiwan, who nodded slightly. "Very well," she said. "But please remember we have the welcome reception in 2 hours." The combat simulation room was a large, empty space with black walls. Vrax and his team stood at a control panel while Taiwan took position in the center. "Level 1 threat assessment," Vrax announced. "Beginning now." Holographic attackers appeared around Taiwan. They'd moved fast, but their attack patterns were simple. Taiwan disabled them with quick, efficient movements. No wasted energy, no flashy techniques. Just practiced, precise strikes. "Level 2, Vrax called out, sounding less amused. The holograms became faster, stronger. They attacked in groups. Taiwan adapted, using the attackers' momentum against them. Where the Nexians expected him to be overwhelmed, he remained calm and in control. "Enough," Vrax said after 10 minutes. His voice held a new edge. "You handle simple threats adequately, human. But this station hosts the galaxy's most important diplomats. We face assassins with quantum phase shifts, poison masters who can kill with a touch, threats your primitive senses can't even detect." Taiwan straightened his tie. His breathing already returned to normal. "Officer Vrax, I appreciate your concern, but let me be clear. I'm not here to compete with your team. I'm here to protect Ambassador Park. If you detect a quantum phase assassin, I expect you to handle it. If I spot someone suspicious using only my primitive human senses, I'll handle that. We each use our strengths." "Very diplomatic," Vrax said coldly. "But remember this, human. When real threats appear, your natural abilities won't be enough. And if your presence endangers this station's security, I will remove you. Personally." As Taiwan walked out to prepare for the reception, he heard the Nexians talking among themselves, their metallic laughter echoing down the corridor. But he didn't mind. Let them laugh. He had learned long ago that underestimation was a kind of advantage, one that had kept him and his clients alive many times before. The reception hall of Astral Dawn Station sparkled with floating lights. Diplomats from 20 different species filled the room, their voices mixing with soft music. Ambassador Park moved through the crowd with grace, shaking hands and touching tentacles as protocol required. Taiwan stayed 3 steps behind her, watching everything. His eyes moved constantly, noting details that others might miss. A Centaurian diplomat's hand shaking too much while holding his drink. A Milesian ambassador who kept touching her neck collar. Small things that might mean nothing or everything. "You're making my security team nervous," Lieutenant Kim said, a quiet voice beside him. Security Director He Jin Cho had appeared without a sound. She was one of the few other humans on the station's senior staff. "How so, Director?" Taiwan kept his eyes moving as they talked. "You've identified 8 potential security risks in the past hour. My team's advanced scanners missed them all." She smiled slightly. "Officer Vrax is especially upset about the hidden energy blade you spotted in the Andromedan Trade Minister's cane. Standard diplomatic weapon. Legal, but should have been declared." Taiwan watched Ambassador Park begin a conversation with a group of tall, crystalline aliens. "Your scanners look for energy signatures. I look for the way he favored his right hand and the unusual weight distribution when he walked." Director Cho nodded. "That's why Ambassador Park wanted you here. The aliens rely too much on their technology. They forget that observation and instinct matter too." Her face became serious. "But be careful. Some powerful people are unhappy with Earth's new trade proposals. They're even more unhappy that a human security officer is showing up their best systems." Across the room, Vrax and his Nexian team stood at their posts. Their glowing eyes followed Taiwan's every move. One of them touched his neural interface, whispering something that made the others laugh. "Let them laugh," Taiwan said quietly. "I'm more concerned about the ambassador's schedule tomorrow. The trade meeting with the Outer Rim delegates feels wrong." "Wrong how?" Director Cho asked. "Too many last-minute changes. Too many delegates requesting private meetings. It breaks standard security patterns." He paused as Ambassador Park waved him over. "Excuse me, Director." As Taiwan approached, he noticed Ambassador Park's expression. She kept her diplomatic smile, but her eyes showed concern. The crystalline aliens moved away, their faceted bodies reflecting the floating lights. "Is everything all right, Ambassador?" "Those were the prismatic consortium representatives," she said softly. "They strongly suggested I reconsider tomorrow's trade proposals, especially the parts about sharing Earth's renewable energy technology." Taiwan made a mental note. The consortium controlled most of the galaxy's energy markets. Earth's clean energy innovations threatened their profits. Did they make any specific threats? "No, they're too subtle for that." She touched her tablet, reviewing her schedule. "But they mentioned how unfortunate it would be if Earth's first major galactic trade deal ended in failure or tragedy." Before Taiwan could respond, Vrax appeared beside them. "Ambassador, my team has completed the security sweep for tomorrow's meeting. We've installed quantum detection fields and neural pattern scanners. I assure you, no one will be able to threaten you while using cloaking or phase technology." He looked pointedly at Taiwan. "Though some might consider our methods excessive." "Thank you, Officer Vrax," Ambassador Park said. "I trust both your team and Lieutenant Kim will keep me safe, each in your own way." Later that night, Taiwan stood in his small quarters, reviewing security footage on a simple tablet. He had requested recordings of the past week's station activities. No neural interfaces, no AI analysis, just his eyes and his instincts, looking for patterns that machines might miss. Something was coming. He could feel it. The question was whether the alien's advanced technology or his human intuition would spot it first. The trade negotiation room on Astral Dawn Station was designed to impress. Its walls showed moving images of stars and galaxies. 20 delegates sat around a circular table, with Ambassador Park representing Earth's interests. Taiwan stood behind her chair, watching. Vrax and his Nexian security team monitored their scanning equipment at the room's edges. Their enhanced eyes glowed as they processed data from their security systems. Everything seemed normal to their advanced technology. But something felt wrong to Taiwan. He noticed small details that bothered him. The Prismatic Consortium's representative kept touching his ceremonial collar. A service robot moved slightly differently than the others. The air felt strange near the ventilation system. Ambassador Park was presenting Earth's renewable energy proposal. Our fusion technology can provide clean energy to developing worlds at 10% of current costs, she explained. We believe sharing this technology will benefit everyone. The consortium representative shifted in his seat. Taiwan saw his collar move slightly. At the same moment, he detected a faint smell that reminded him of bitter almonds. His old chemical weapons training kicked in immediately. Everyone down. Taiwan shouted. He pulled Ambassador Park from her chair and covered her with his body. The other delegates looked confused, but then their environmental sensors began screaming warnings. Poison gas detected. Vrax announced, his voice angry. But how? Our scanners showed nothing. The collar, Taiwan said, pointing at the consortium representative while keeping the ambassador protected. It's releasing something that turns into poison when it mixes with the air conditioning chemicals. Basic chemistry, no advanced technology to detect. Vrax's team moved quickly, using their enhanced strength to evacuate the delegates. The station's emergency systems activated, cleaning the air. The consortium representative tried to leave, but Taiwan was faster. In one smooth motion, he reached the alien and removed the collar. The metal device was simple but clever. Two harmless chemicals, mixed by air movement, creating a deadly gas. No energy signature, no suspicious parts. Just chemistry. Impossible, Vrax said, examining the collar. Our quantum scanners should have detected any weapon. It's not a quantum weapon, Taiwan explained, still holding the struggling representative. It's just clever use of simple science. Sometimes the old ways are harder to stop because everyone's looking for advanced technology. Security Director Cho arrived with station officers. As they arrested the consortium representative, she turned to Taiwan. How did you know? Small things. The way he kept adjusting the collar. The slight change in air movement from the ventilation system. The bitter smell. My human nose may not be as sensitive as alien sensors, but it knows when something's wrong. Ambassador Park had recovered her composure. She straightened her jacket and addressed the shaken delegates. This attempt to stop our proposal shows how much some people fear change. But Earth remains committed to sharing our technology for the good of all. Later, in the security office, Vrax approached Taiwan. The Nexian's glowing eyes showed frustration. You were adequate today, human. But you were lucky. Next time, the threat will be more advanced. Maybe, Taiwan said calmly. Or maybe it will be even simpler. That's the problem with relying too much on advanced technology, Officer Vrax. Sometimes you miss what's right in front of you. As he left the office, Taiwan knew this was only the beginning. The attempt had failed, but it revealed something important. Someone was willing to kill to stop Earth's trade deals, and they were smart enough to use simple methods against advanced defenses. He would need to be even more vigilant now, because the next attack might not be as easy to spot as a poisoned collar. Station Intelligence Officer Sunmi Lee's office was small but organized. Screens covered one wall, showing security feeds from across Astral Dawn. Taiwan sat across from her desk, reviewing footage from the past week. The poison attack wasn't random, Sun Mai said, typing on her computer. Look at these visitor logs. 3 different cleaning robots were replaced just before the trade meeting. No maintenance requests, no work orders. Taiwan leaned forward. The robot I noticed moving strangely. It must have spread the chemical that reacted with the poison. Exactly. Sun Mai pulled up more data. And here's something interesting. The replacement order came from a shipping company owned by the Shadowclaw Guild. Shadowclaw. Ta-One's face became serious. The assassin group. The most expensive killers in the galaxy. Sun Mai lowered her voice. They never fail a contract, and they're known for combining simple methods with advanced technology. No one sees them coming. A soft beep interrupted them. The door slid open, and Director Cho entered. She looked worried. Lieutenant Kim, you need to see this. She placed a data chip on the desk. Security footage from the lower levels. Watch the maintenance worker. Sun may play the recording. A worker in station uniform walked down a corridor, checking panels. Nothing seemed unusual, except, his shoes don't make noise, Ta-One said. Everyone's shoes make some sound on station floors. It's a basic rule of artificial gravity. Correct. Director Cho nodded. Someone using gravity-canceling technology. Very advanced, very expensive. And they're checking the exact paths Ambassador Park takes to her meetings. Ta-One stood up and walked to the screen wall. So we have simple poison attacks and high-tech infiltration. The Shadowclaws are studying the station's security from all angles. He turned to face the others. But who hired them? Sun Me pulled up another file. I've been tracking money movements. The Prismatic Consortium lost billions when Earth announced its energy technology. But they're not the only ones. She pointed to a list of companies and alien governments. All these groups would suffer if Earth's trade deals succeed. They're working together, Director Cho realized, pooling their resources to hire the galaxy's best assassins. Ta-One was about to respond when his tablet buzzed. A message from Vrax appeared. Security meeting. Now, bring your primitive theories if you must. The main security office was tense when they arrived. Vrax and his Nexian team stood around a holographic display of the station. Their cybernetic enhancements glowed brighter than usual, showing their agitation. Our quantum scanners detected phase shift energy readings in 7 different sectors. Vrax announced, the Shadowclaws are here, testing our defenses. But we'll find them. Technology always beats primitive methods. Ta-One studied the hologram quietly. The Nexians had marked all the high-tech security measures, quantum fields, neural scanners, energy barriers. But he noticed something else. All the marked areas were far from the station's old maintenance tunnels and basic life support systems. They're not testing our defenses, Ta-One said suddenly. They're making us look in the wrong places. While we chase phase shift readings, they're using the simple routes we've forgotten about. Vrax's glowing eyes narrowed. Ridiculous. No one would ignore advanced infiltration tech to crawl through maintenance tubes. That's exactly what makes it clever. Sun Mai supported Ta-One's theory. The Shadowclaws know we expect high-tech attacks. So they'll use both. Hit us where we're looking and where we're not. As the others argued, Ta-One checked his tablet again. Ambassador Park had 3 major meetings tomorrow, 3 chances for assassins to strike, and now he knew they would use every method possible, from the most advanced to the most basic. The question was, could he protect her from both? The emergency alarms woke Ta-One at midnight. Red lights flashed in his quarters as the station's computer announced, warning, power system failure in progress. Emergency systems active. His security tablet showed no signal. The station's advanced communications were down. Ta-One grabbed his emergency kit and ran toward Ambassador Park's quarters. The corridors were dark, lit only by emergency lights. He found Director Cho in the hallway. What happened to the power? He asked. Someone attacked our main reactor. She looked worried. All advanced systems are offline. No quantum scanners, no neural networks, no artificial gravity in some sections. The ambassador, still in her quarters. Vrax and his team are guarding her. Director Cho paused. But something feels wrong. The Nexians are too calm about this. They reached the ambassador's door. 2 Nexian guards stood outside, their cybernetic enhancements glowing dimly in the low light. Inside, Vrax stood near Ambassador Park, who was putting on an emergency spacesuit. "Status report," Director Cho demanded. "Everything is under control," Vrax said. His voice sounded different, colder. "We're moving the ambassador to a secure location." Taiwan noticed small details. The way the Nexians positioned themselves. The slight change in Vrax's usual stance. The emergency suit the ambassador wore. It was an older model than the ones normally kept in her quarters. "That's not the ambassador," Taiwan said suddenly. Her hands. The real Ambassador Park has a small scar on her right hand from a childhood accident. This person doesn't. The fake ambassador smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. The person reached up and touched their face. The holographic disguise flickered and disappeared, revealing a Shadowclaw assassin. "Impressive, human," Vrax said. He was still smiling. "Most people would never notice such a tiny detail. Too bad you won't live to use that skill again." The two Nexian guards raised their weapons. Director Cho reached for her neural stunner, but nothing happened. The advanced weapon was useless without power. "Where is Ambassador Park?" Taiwan demanded. "Safe, for now," Vrax answered. "The Shadowclaws paid well for our help. Did you really think we would let a human show us up? Your primitive methods made us look foolish, bad for business. You betrayed everything you were supposed to protect," Director Cho said angrily. "We protected our interests," Vrax corrected her. "Earth's trade deals would hurt too many powerful people. The Shadowclaws just paid us to look the other way." The fake ambassador spoke in a smooth voice. "The real Ambassador Park is being moved through the old maintenance tunnels. Your human bodyguard was right about one thing. Sometimes the simple route is best." Taiwan's mind raced. The power failure meant no advanced security systems, no cameras, no quantum scanners, no neural interfaces, just humans and aliens in the dark, using their basic abilities. "Now," said Vrax, "we'll make this look like a tragic accident during the power failure. The human bodyguard tried to save the ambassador, but failed. Very sad." The Nexian guards moved forward. In the dim emergency lights, their enhanced eyes glowed like cold stars. Without power, most of their advanced weapons wouldn't work, but they were still stronger than humans. Taiwan took a deep breath. He had trained for situations like this. No technology, no fancy weapons, just skill, instinct, and determination. In the darkness, everyone was equal. The fight for Ambassador Park's life was about to begin. The maintenance sector of Astral Dawn Station was a maze of narrow corridors and metal pipes. In the emergency lighting, everything cast long shadows. Taiwan moved silently through the darkness, following the subtle signs of recent passage. He had escaped the Nexian guards using basic fighting techniques. Their enhanced strength meant nothing when he used their momentum against them. Director Cho had gone to find help, while Taiwan tracked the real Ambassador Park. A sound echoed from ahead, footsteps trying to be quiet but not quite succeeding. Taiwan pressed himself against a wall and listened. 6 different walking patterns, the Shadowclaw team moving their prisoner. "The human will never find us here," a voice whispered. It was Vrax, sounding confident. "His primitive senses can't track us in the dark." Taiwan smiled slightly. They forgot that humans had evolved as pursuit predators. Following tracks was in his DNA. He had already noticed the scuff marks on the floor, the displaced dust on the pipes, the slight warmth of recently touched handrails. He moved closer, staying in the shadows. His eyes had adjusted perfectly to the dim light. Unlike the alien's enhanced vision, which needed power to work well, his natural night vision was working fine. Ahead, he saw them. 6 Shadowclaw assassins, their advanced stealth suits barely working without power. Vrax walked with them, his cybernetic enhancements glowing faintly. Ambassador Park was in the middle of the group, her hands bound. Taiwan reached into his emergency kit and pulled out a small metal ball, an old-fashioned flashbang grenade. No electronics, just chemistry. He rolled it toward the group. The bang was deafening in the metal corridor. The flash overloaded the assassins' enhanced eyes. They staggered, temporarily blind. Vrax shouted in pain as his neural interfaces sparked. Taiwan moved fast. The first assassin went down before knowing what hit them. The second tried to fight back, but couldn't match Taiwan's trained moves in the dark. The third and fourth attacked together, their movements showing advanced combat training. But training was different from real experience. Taiwan had learned fighting in the real world, not in simulations. He used the narrow space to his advantage, making sure they got in each other's way. The fifth assassin pulled out an emergency blade when their energy weapons wouldn't work. The metal gleamed in the dim light, but blade fighting was something humans had practiced for thousands of years. Taiwan disarmed them with a move he had learned from his first combat instructor. Only Vrax remained, standing between Taiwan and the ambassador. The Nexian security chief was angry now, his mechanical voice growling. "You're still just a primitive human. I am enhanced, improved, superior." "No," Taiwan said calmly. "You're dependent on your improvements. Without power, you're just poorly trained and overconfident." Vrax charged forward, trying to use his enhanced strength, but his movements were clumsy without his neural interface working properly. Taiwan sidestepped and used a simple shoulder throw. Vrax crashed into the wall, his cybernetic parts sparking. "How?" Vrax asked from the floor. "How did one human defeat the galaxy's best assassins?" Taiwan quickly freed Ambassador Park, because humans know that real strength isn't about technology. It's about adapting, learning, and never giving up. Ambassador Park smiled as station security finally arrived, led by Director Cho. "Well said, Lieutenant Kim. I think the galaxy just learned an important lesson about underestimating humans." In the darkness of the maintenance sector, surrounded by defeated assassins with their useless high-tech gear, Taiwan simply nodded. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways after all. 1 week after the assassination attempt, Astral Dawn Station buzzed with activity. The main conference hall was filled with delegates from across the galaxy. They gathered for a special session of the Galactic Council, called to address recent events. Taiwan stood at his usual post behind Ambassador Park's chair. His black suit was perfectly pressed, showing no sign of the fierce battle he had fought in the maintenance sector. The only difference was how others looked at him now. The mocking glances had been replaced with respectful nods. "The Council recognizes Ambassador Park of Earth," announced the Council leader, a tall being made of shifting colors. "Please present your findings on the recent security breach." Ambassador Park stood, her voice clear and strong. "Honorable Council, 1 week ago, a group of mercenaries attempted to stop Earth's trade proposals through violence. They failed, thanks to the actions of one security officer who proved that technology alone does not guarantee success." The chamber screen showed images from the station's security recordings. The poison attack, the power failure, the fight in the maintenance sector. The council members watched with great interest. Lieutenant Kim demonstrated something important. Ambassador Park continued. "In our rush to embrace advanced technology, we forgot the value of basic skills and human intuition. This oversight nearly cost us everything." In the gallery, Sun Li and Director Cho sat with other station officials. The investigation had revealed how deep the conspiracy went. The Prismatic Consortium and their allies had spent fortunes trying to stop Earth's trade deals. Now their representatives sat in detention cells, their schemes exposed. "The Council has reviewed the evidence," the leader said. "The trade agreements will proceed as planned. But we have another matter to discuss." They turned their shifting gaze to Taiwan. "Step forward, Lieutenant Kim." Taiwan walked to the center of the chamber. The council leader's colors swirled thoughtfully. "Your actions have shown us an error in our thinking. We believe that advanced technology always marks superior security. We were wrong. Therefore, the council proposes a new initiative." The screens change, showing plans for a new security program. The leader continued, "We will create a combined security force, bringing together both technological and traditional methods. Lieutenant Kim, we ask you to lead this program as the first human chief of galactic diplomatic security." The chamber filled with approving murmurs. Even the aliens who had once doubted human abilities now saw the wisdom in this choice. "The position is yours, if you want it," Ambassador Park said softly, "though I'll miss having you as my personal guard." Taiwan looked around the chamber. He saw faces of different colors, shapes, and materials, all waiting for his answer. "I accept," he said simply, "on one condition. The training program must be open to all species, not just humans. Everyone should learn to rely on their natural abilities as well as their technology." "Agreed," the council leader said. Their colors brightened with approval. "Perhaps it is fitting that a human teaches this lesson. Your species has always excelled at combining the old ways with the new." Later that evening, Taiwan stood at his favorite window, looking out at the stars. Director Cho joined him, smiling. "Quite a change from when you first arrived. Now those same aliens who mocked you will be learning from you." "Everyone has something to teach," Taiwan replied, "and something to learn. That's what makes us stronger together." As they watched, a ship docked at the station. New security trainees arriving, ready to learn that true strength comes in many forms. The stars shone steadily in the darkness, witnesses to a new chapter in galactic history, one where human wisdom would help guide the future of interstellar security.